As he does every day, the man was waiting on the subway when he noticed an unusual passenger among the other commuters. It was a dog. At first he thought he belonged to someone, but he was wrong. He had to find out where the dog had gone. But once he realized what he was doing and why he was there, he immediately called the authorities. Amir usually drives to work in his own car, but since he had been in the workshop the day before, he decided to use public transport. From day one he took the subway. Amir didn't expect to see anything like this. A dog waited patiently with people at the train station and jumped on the train as soon as it stopped. Nobody but Amir paid much attention to the four-legged friend. The man tried to look for the dog on the subway, but before he could find him, the train arrived at Amir's station. Unfortunately, he had to drop out and go to work. At first he thought the dog was just an aimless passenger looking for something to eat in the train car, so he tried to forget him, but that shouldn't be the end of the story. Amir returned home thinking he would never see the dog again, but the next day he got a surprise. The same dog was waiting at the subway station again. Amir also observed this behavior over the next few days. He began to wonder what was going on. Was the dog lost? Had he run away from home or even been abandoned? Not every day was like the other. Amir once saw some people push the dog away and pull it out of the wagon with some disgust. Amir had tried to stop her, but it was too late. The train had already left the station and the poor dog was left lying on the cold concrete floor, circling in confusion. People walked past him and no one paid any attention to the dog. Amir saw through the window that the animal was acting strangely. The dog seemed disoriented, moving chaotically among the people waiting for the next train. But before Amir could do anything, the train pulled out of the station. The man thought about how to help the dog, but first he had to find him again. He was determined to solve the mystery of the traveling dog. The next day, Amir picked up some dog food when he went to work. He was waiting at the same subway station and it wasn't long before the dog showed up. He was a little dirtier than usual, but his brown fur was unmistakable. The dog took the treats, tail wagging. Seeing him so happy, Amir was glad to be able to help the little dog. But the young man didn't want to leave it at that. And even when he was told that his car had been repaired and was ready for pickup at the shop, he decided to continue taking the subway to work to help the dog. The car could wait, but who knows what trouble the dog got into every morning. Amir had to act as soon as possible to get to the bottom of this whole story. He decided to call the authorities, who referred him to a local animal shelter. The shelter staff were as stunned as Amir when they heard the story. At first, the team just wanted to capture the dog and try to find an adoptive family for him. But the mystery of where he went every day and why would not be solved that way. Therefore, the employees took a different direction. They decided to follow the dog for a day to see where the dog went. When they found this out, they didn't know how to react. One employee agreed to take on this unusual task. The man immediately found out valuable information. First of all, that the dog's name was Boji. He was noticed by locals, who began photographing him as he rode the subway and even the ferry. It was clear that the dog was very clever. He knew all the rules of public transport, cleared the way for passengers and entered the train after everyone had got off. The dog later underwent a thorough examination which revealed that it had already passed all health checks and had been spayed. So the poor dog once belonged to a family, but now lived as a stray. He traveled a lot to reach people and facilities where he could get food. It was a daily adventure for the dog to be fed by the many people who loved and cherished him. As if that wasn't enough, many social media accounts have been opened to keep track of when Boji was last seen. Passengers enjoyed his company throughout the journey. The dog was a calming presence and brought joy to all the passengers it met. Ever since people started following Boji, he's become an online phenomenon. Chris McGrath, a Getty Images photographer, found out about Boji via Twitter. He decided to travel to Istanbul to see the dog in person. The photographer followed Boji for a day to see where he went and to document his adventures. He couldn't believe his eyes. Something like that was unique in the world. He knows where to go, said Alvin Errol, head of customer care at Metro Istanbul. It was really amazing that the dog knew exactly where to go. It was as if he had a goal and knew exactly the way. For many, Boji has become a popular member of society. Everyone knew him. Chris followed Boji and couldn't believe the stories were true. He's a free spirit. All he wants to do is ride public transportation. Every time he passes a bus or other means of transport, he just wants to get on. It's really weird, he told CNN. Not only did Chris confirm that Boji does indeed travel up to 20 miles a day on public transit, but he discovered something even more incredible. Boji was even spotted en route to the Prince's Islands over the weekend. To get there and back, Boji had to take an hour-long ferry ride. This is really something impressive. As he boarded the ferry, he knew where to go. Chris also discovered another extravagant habit. City officials tell him that Boji seems to appreciate the different engines in the vehicles he rides in. On the ferry he sits in the back where the engine is because he likes the vibrations, Chris explained. And on the subway he sits where the wheels are. Its name Boji is also derived from the area of the subway that is directly above the wheels. But how does a stray dog find enough food to survive on the streets of Istanbul? Being a stray on the street is dangerous for any animal. What is different in Istanbul? Well, the city of Istanbul has a program to protect the many stray dogs that roam the streets. The city provides food, spaying programs and emergency care for all stray animals. It is not difficult for Boji to find enough food. There are water and food bowls hidden in the corners of restaurants or homes. Chris explains. So Boji knows where to go. The city government also plans to put up flyers about Boji in transit to instruct people on how to deal with him. But how do the people of Istanbul react to Boji? One day the dog walked into a restaurant and was chased away by two men who yelled at him, said Chris. And then you could hear someone else yelling at those men, "It's Boji, it's Boji, don't chase him away." Ever since Boji has become so well known, city officials have been taking him to the veterinarian regularly for checkups. So you can help him to keep his health. He was groomed and given some injections. Chris told CNN News that getting these tests was helpful for Boji. When they were sure that Boji was healthy, they released him again, but not without setting up a small kennel for him in one of the subway stations. Ever since people became aware of Boji and his strange habits of moving on trains, he has become a worldwide phenomenon on the internet. He has more than 100,000 followers on Twitter. Many of his followers are Istanbul commuters who know him personally. If you were touched by the story, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Now watch a video of a reunion of an elephant and her unusual mom. This story will break your heart. Till next time and have a wonderful day.